Puss in Boots. A miller left all of his possessions, a mill, a donkey, and a cat to his 3 sons. It did not take long to divide the property. No attorney was called in state the fees would have eaten up the little patrimony. The eldest son received the mill, the second son the donkey, and the youngest received only the cat. The youngest son was very sad at receiving so little. "My brothers," he said, "will be able to earn an honest living by the mill or the donkey. But when I have eaten my cat and made a scarf of his food, I will die of hunger." The cat had heard this speech, although he had no appeared to do so, and said to him with a calm and serious air, "Do not be troubled, master. If you will me a bag and a pair of boots made for me, in which I can go among the bushes, you will see that you were not left as bloody off as you believed." His master did not place much reliance on the cat's word. However, he had seen the cat play cunning tricks to catch rats and mice when he would hang himself up by the heels, or hide in the floor pretending to be dead. So the master was not altogether without hope of being helped out of his problems by the cat. The cat received what he had asked for and boldly pulled on his boots. Then hanging his bag around his neck, he started off for a warren where there were a great number of rabbits. He put some bran and herbs in his bag, and then stretched himself out as his were did. Now he just waited until some young rabbit, little versed in the ways of the world, came and poked his way into the bag, in order to eat what was inside it. He had hardly laid himself down before he had the pleasure of seeing a young scatterbrain of a rabbit get into the bag. The cat pulled the strings and caught the rabbit without mercy. Proud of his prey, he went to the palace and asked to speak to the king. He was ushered upstairs and into the state apartment. The cat bowed low to the king and said, "Sire, here is a wild rabbit which my lord the Marquis of Carabas, which was the title he had decided to make up for his master, has ordered me to present with his compliments to your majesty." "Your master," replied the king, "that I thank him and am pleased with his gift." Another day he went and hid himself in the wheat, keeping the mouth of his bag open as before. Soon he saw that a brace of partridges had run inside and he pulled the strings, capturing both. He immediately went and presented them to the king as he had the rabbits. The king was equally grateful at receiving the brace of partridges, and ordered that drink to be served to him. For the next 2 or 3 months the cat continued in this manner, taking presents of game at intervals to the king, saying they were from his master. One day, when he knew the king was going to the drive on the banks of the river was his daughter, the most beautiful princess in the world. The cat said to his master, "If you will follow my advice, your fortune is made. You have only to go and bathe in the river, where I will point out to you. Leave the rest to me." The master did as his cat advised him, without knowing what good would come of it. While he was bathing, the king passed by, and the cat began to call out with all his might, "Help! Help me! My lord the Marquis of Carabas is drowning." Hearing the cry, the king looked out of the coach window. Recursing the cat who often brought him gain, he ordered his guard to head the Marquis of Carabas. While they were waiting, the poor Marquis out of Rivera, the cat went up to the royal coach. He told the king that while his master had been, some robbers had come and carried off his clothes. The rogue had hidden himself under a large stone. The king immediately ordered the officers of his guardred to go and fetch on he had summoned suites for the Marquis of Carabas. The king embraced him 1,000 times. The king's daughter was taken as well, with the fine clothes settings of his good looks, for he once had some and well made. After the Marquis of Carabas cast 2 or 3 respectful and rather tender glances towards him, she fell very much in love with him. The king insisted upon his getting into the coach, and accompanying them in their drive. The cat, delighted to see that his plans were beginning to set, ranch ahead. When he came across some peasants who were mowing a meadow, he said to them, "Good people who are mowing here, if you do not tell the king that this meadow you are mowing belongs to my lord the Marquis of Carabas, I will cut you into pieces as small as minced meat." As the cat expected, the king asked the peasants whose meadow it was they were mowing. "It belongs to our lord the Marquis of Carabas," they all said together, for the cat's third had frightened them. "You have a fine property there," said the king to the Marquis of Carabas. "As you say, sir," responded the Marquis of Carabas, "for it is a meadow that yields an abundant crop every year." The cat who was still running ahead of the party came up to some Everest and said to them, "Good people who are reaping, if you do not say that all this corn belongs to my lord the Marquis of Carabas, I will cut you into pieces as small as minced meat." The king who passed by a minute afterwards wished to know to whom belonged all the cornfields. He said, "To our lord the Marquis of Carabas," repeated the reapers, and the king again congratulated the Marquis on his prodigy. The cat continued to run before the coach, uttering the same dirt to every he met, and the king was astonished at the great will of the Marquis of Carabas. The cat finally arrived at a wonderful castle which was owned by an ogre. The ogre was amazingly rich, for all the lands through which the king had driven belonged to the ogre. The cats made sure to find out who the ogre was, and what he was able to do. Then he asked to speak with him, saying that he did not like to pass so near his castle without paying his respects to him. Paying his respect to him. The ogre received him as civilly as an ogre can, and made him sit down. "I have been told," said the cat, "that you have the power of changing yourself into all kinds of animals; that you could, for instance, transform yourself into a lion or an elephant." "It is true," said the ogre, "and to prove it to you, you will see me become a lion." The cat was so frightened when he saw a lion in front of him, that he quickly scrambled up into it, not without difficulty and danger on account of his boots, which were worse than useless for walking on the tiles. Shortly afterwards, saying that the ogre had resumed his natural form, the cat calmed down again, and admitted that he had been terribly frightened. "I have also been assured," said the cat, "but I cannot believe it, that you have the power of taking the form of the smallest animal, for instance, that of a rat or a mouse. I confess to you I hold this to be utterly impossible." "Impossible!" exclaimed the ogre. "You will see." And he immediately changed himself into a mouse, and began running about the floor. As soon as the cat caught scent of the mouse, he pounced on it and ate it. In the meantime the king, seeing the fine castle of the ogre as he was driving past, thought he should like to go into it. The cat would hear the noise of the coach rolling over the dry brick, ran to meet it, and said to the king, "Your Majesty is welcome to the castle of my lord the Marquis of Carabas." "My lord Marquis," exclaimed the king, "this castle belongs to you?" "Nothing could be finer than this courtyard and all these buildings which surround it. Let us see the inside of it, if you please." The Marquis helped the young princess out. They followed the king, who led the way upstairs, and they entered a grand hall. In the hall they found prepared a magnificent feast, which the ogre had ordered in expectation of some friends who were going to visit him that very day. But the friends did not venture to enter when they heard the king was there. The king was as delighted with the excellent qualities of the Marquis of Carabas as was his daughter, who was more than ever in love with him. "Now," saying what great was the Marquis proceeded, and after drinking 5 or 6 cups, said to him, "If you wish to, my lord Marquis, I would like you to become my son-in-law." The Marquis, making several profound bows, accepted the honor the king offered him. That same day he married the princess. The cat became a great lord, and never again ran after mice except for his own amusement.